Just 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. Alrighty then, it is now 7:05, so we're now going to get started. Hello everyone, thank you for coming to our Solution Challenge info session. It's going to be a really great informative event for you guys. I can't wait to introduce you guys to the hallmark event of the Developer Student Club community and our chapter here at UF. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first of all, we're going to introduce this Solution Challenge with a little sneak peek video, courtesy of Google developers themselves. Okay, on to the next. So now that you've gotten a little bit of a sneak peek into what the Solution Challenge is, let us go a little bit deeper and find a little bit more about why we do it and what the actual challenge entails. So the Solution Challenge is an annual contest that is presented by Developer Student Clubs, DSC, and it invites students to develop solutions for local community problems using one or more of Google products or platforms. These can be any one of the Google products. It could be anything from Google Assistant all the way to Firebase to some less well-known items such as Flutter as well. And with that, we try to use these Google products to try to find a solution to a problem that could either be plaguing our local community ourselves, or maybe even a bigger problem within the global community as well. So really with this challenge, it's very unique as in there are endless possibilities into solutions you can create and problems you can solve. It all matters on the amount of impact that you make on the world as a whole. So what does the Solution Challenge entail? The Solution Challenge entails 4 main steps: register, build, submit, and celebrate. The register step is optional, but highly recommended for participation in the challenge. Registration will give you access to an online community of over 80 plus Google developer experts, as well as all the other contestants that are partaking in the challenge as well. And this is a really great resource to have, as the DSC network is over 800 individual clubs throughout the entire globe. We have the North American region, we have the European region, as well as the Asian and African region as well. So you can definitely use this resource to meet a lot of people and network, as well as get help with your project as well. It's a really great resource to have, and I really recommend anyone who participates in the challenge definitely register so that you can take well advantage of that. And in this community, you can ask questions and get support from people all over the world, and everyone is super nice and super willing to help. That's one thing that I really enjoy in the DSC community. It's everyone's willingness to help and everyone's excitement about technology and solving problems. So with our community, you can definitely see a lot of good times and a lot of great mentorship opportunities as well. Next in the solution challenge, we have the build stage. This is where the bulk of the development takes place, and it occurs from January 30th to March 31st. Usually, these dates are already released, but due to COVID, there's a little bit of a hold in the schedule. So more information will be released as to the specific dates on January 12th. So be on the lookout for that. We'll update you on our Slack page, as well as our chapter page on the DSC community platform as well. So be on the lookout for that. The submission occurs at the end of the developmental period, and it can happen anytime you want, basically whenever you finish your actual project, and it just has to be any date before March 30th at 11:59 Pacific Standard Time. And the biggest part about the submission itself is that you must include a 2-minute demonstration video on how it can be used. This demonstration video is very important because it is the criteria in which they use to judge your actual project itself. So this project has to, this demo video has to have a understanding of what the problem that you're solving is, a very clear and concise explanation of what your solution is, as well as a demonstration that shows what you created and how it actually solves the problem at hand. In addition to this, we have our last stage, which is the celebrate stage. This is the second most fun stage, I would say. We love to code and build, but it's always good to celebrate the work that you've done. And especially when it's done, it's always good to look back at what you've created and the impact that it will have on others as well as yourself. And usually the Google company is very nice to host the developer student clubs and basically give the top 10 winners a all expense paid trip to the Google headquarters. This usually happens every year, but unfortunately in 2020, it wasn't able to happen due to COVID. So unfortunately, we don't know for sure if this is going to happen for the 2021 challenge. If COVID gets better in the United States, it may still happen, but as of right now, it is still scheduled to be a online virtual summit, but it's still a great experience nonetheless, and we just have to hope for the best and hope that COVID really improves within our country and the rest of the world, really. So now that you know what the challenge entails, here's a look at a product that was created by a fellow DSC in South Korea.
Nowadays in South Korea, especially near our university, senior care is a serious problem. As you can see in the graph and the news covers, the population of seniors who need support are rising dramatically, and because of that, one social worker per senior is about 15 to 20, and it will rise continually. So we came up with a solution to help social workers and also seniors. By using app within smart wearable devices, our solution will reduce the tasks for social workers and help them work efficiently and also relieve worries that could happen to seniors. So we made an app that is connected to Fitbit, and this is our solution. At first, if the user is a social worker, they have to make an account to get access to this app. If the social worker is going to register new senior, the user has to click Add New Senior button at the bottom app bar, and they can add info and status. If it is done successfully, the user can see the seniors who are registered directly and organized at the main page like this. Not only the user can see the basic info of seniors, but also they can see the real-time pulse level for each seniors. After the social worker visits the senior and checks their daily routine or status, the user can directly write a short report on this app to summarize. The user can verify the individual's reports on the report tab. The reports are separated by individuals, and it is also divided into dates, so they can easily check the latest visits on usual points. In some circumstances, there can be an alert with seniors. Social workers can check the emergency situations by the alerts that the app gives. If the pulse levels are too high or too low, the app will recognize unusual points and give alerts. If alerts happen, the user will take action by manual. With the features that we showed, we are going to help social workers get more focused in their work. Also, it can help seniors to catch their golden time when they have problems. We believe our solution can be applied to various ways. It can be applied to families who live far away, or it can be applied to patients to prevent from serious problems. We hope our solution can help seniors and social workers to be happy.
Sorry about that. One moment. Awesome. So that was a great introduction into what kind of projects and what kind of solutions that we can make as a community ourselves. This is a very fun project to look at because it's very unique in the challenge and the problem that it fixes. And it's a very good concept that we should also inherit in the United States as well.
Nowadays in South
So next we have the terms and conditions of the solution challenge. So the project must be built during the contest period, which is the period from January 30th to March 30th, 2021. So you have about 2 months to really do the bulk of the development for the project as well. The other conditions are that it must address a local or community problem. This problem can be as big or as small as you choose. Just keep in mind that the criteria for the judgment of the project is also based on the impact of the solution itself. So you really have to keep in mind that more broad problems will have better success in the contest itself. In addition to this, each team can have a maximum of 4 people. While there is no minimum to the team sizes, you can work by yourself. 4 is the maximum amount we can have per team. And we will be splitting our organization into several different teams working on different projects. And lastly, the last requirement is to basically include 1 or more of the Google products listed below. So this could be anything from Google Cloud Services, any of our machine learning services, such as Google Assistant, as well as TensorFlow. It could be anything like an Android app or a web app that utilizes Flutter or Firebase. Really, the possibilities are endless with this challenge. That's one of the great benefits of the challenge, as it's something that's very unique in that you have all the freedom yourself and you can choose to solve whatever problem you would like. While you can select any problem or issue that best suits your interest, we do have a couple of goals from the SDS that we would like to kind of try to focus on. This year, Google has presented us with these 17 goals that we want to focus on. They're very broad goals. We have things like no poverty, zero hunger, quality education, gender equality, clean water, affordability. There's really a lot of good issues that we can solve here that are plaguing a lot of people throughout the world. And I know they seem very intimidating, as there's something that is something that probably can't be solved by one person, like no poverty or zero hunger. But we believe that all solutions can make an impact. Doesn't matter how big or small they are. So for that reason, we encourage all of our members to create a solution that suits their best interests, because at the end of the day, it just takes a bit of effort from everyone to make the world a better place. And with technology, we can make this more of a reality. In addition to those other 12 goals, we also have these as well. We have climate action, life below water, so basically marine life, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, as well as partnerships for the goals together. So basically just a global well-being and a global community that's supportive of everyone and each other. And it might be helpful to try to look at these categories when trying to identify a problem to solve. They're very broad, but you can always do whatever you would like to do when you're solving them. For example, you might look at good health and well-being and reduce inequalities as a pretty large topic and something hard to solve a problem for, but you can make it a local problem or a global problem. For example, in Gainesville, we have a lot of homeless people and we have a large homelessness problem. So if that's something that you would want it to take on, that would be more than welcome within the challenge. And it's something that I suggest that we focus on as well. It's a really great cause, and it's definitely something that we see a lot in Gainesville ourselves, as well as throughout the United States as well. Obviously, one of the most appealing aspects of the Solution Challenge is the opportunity to be selected as a winning team and flown out to Google HQ to present your project. In addition to this trip, winners will also receive mentorship from Googlers and experts in order to take their solution to the next level. So not only does this challenge provide you with the opportunity to make a difference, it also opens doors to get great insight from established Google professionals. And in order to win the challenge, you must have a great project that is graded on the following 3 categories. We have impact, which is worth 50 points, technology, which is worth 40 points, and scalability, which is worth 10 points, all for a grand total of 100 points. The first criteria that we have is impact. When judging impact, Google wants to see your projects that identify and explain your team's challenges in a clear manner. They want to make sure that the project has been thoroughly tested with real users and it was created and amended based on user feedback. Given the COVID situation, there's a little bit more leniency with this individual criteria, just because of COVID restrictions, you're not as able as you were before to conduct actual user testing. So this is something that they're also taking into account as well. You just want to make sure that any project you submit is something that's well tested and well curated to the actual users that you plan on using the product for. Next, you want to make sure that the project improves people's lives in some way. The project should ease the burden of the issue identified, and the team should display a clear plan to improve and expand their project in the future to help even more people. So this is where selecting a really good problem comes into play, and it's really a great focus into creating a great solution. You have to have a great problem or a big problem at hand. Projects that create solutions to more global or more broad problems definitely do better within the challenge itself. But that shouldn't discourage you from solving a more local problem as well. They're looking at impact as a whole. It doesn't matter if it's global or local. It's just something you should just take into account when selecting your problem. And this category actually makes up the most amount of all the criteria. So it really shows how important identifying the actual problem that you want to solve is. And it's very important that you take a lot of time in this planning stage to identify a great problem first. The second largest category is technology. This criteria assesses the actual project that is being made. So it asks questions like, does the project properly address the challenge that was identified? Did the team effectively use the features of the chosen Google product or platform and clearly describe what, why, and how it was used? And does the video submission include a proper demonstration of the user interface? The technology portion is the largest portion in terms of the actual development time. You want to make sure that your project is very clear, it is very clean, and it's very useful, and that it works in general. A large part of the actual grading for this section is based on your demo itself. So you don't want to neglect that part of the challenge as well. You want to make sure that your demo is something that is concise, it's very clear, it identifies the problem, and it really demonstrates to the best of your ability what your solution and your project can do. This is what they're going to use to actually grade your project as a whole, your demo video. So you just want to make sure that that is something that you really focus on towards the end of the project. And lastly, the final category that we have is scalability. This criteria assesses the potential for the project and essentially how useful it is on a global scale or a local scale. So can this technology in its current form or with minor structural changes support more users and regions on a larger scale? This is something else to keep in mind when you're designing your project, as it's really going to separate the good projects from the great projects. So they're really looking for a project and a solution that can be used by several people in different regions or maybe even different continents. and basically a solution that is accessible to many users. Next, we have the solution design framework and upcoming events that we will have to support you guys in the creation of the solution challenge. Here we have a video from one of our Googler experts. It's a great video that really emphasizes the importance of picking a great problem, and it basically gives you great tips to finding a great problem. So we're going to take a look at that right now.
As technologists, we build things. We build apps and websites, self-driving cars and burrito delivery services, meme generators, and, well, you get the point. But why are we doing this? What's the point of this technology? My name is Arman Hazarkani, and in this video, I plan to answer these questions and more. Welcome to the Developer Student Club's Solution Challenge. Here at Developer Student Clubs, the point of technology is to build solutions to local problems. So what makes a solution successful? What separates successful products used all around the world and products that fail to get any users? Simply put, successful solutions solve a well-defined problem and unsuccessful solutions don't. Let's look at an example. A lot of times people will jump right into building a project they're super excited about. They'll spend weeks and even months developing it, leading up to an incredible launch with 0 users. That's not great, but for some reason, this is a time-old story, and it happens to students, entrepreneurs, and even large companies. Why? Most of the time, it's because they started at the wrong place. A lot of scientists, engineers, and inventors alike start by thinking of a really cool idea rather than a really tough problem, which leads to all these really cool ideas with no real-world application. The key is to start by identifying a problem, then deciding how you want to apply technology to solve that problem. When building any project, the most important step is identifying a true problem, something that people truly feel. A lot of people don't spend enough time here because honestly, it's difficult and it's time consuming. Like anything else though, the hardest part is getting started. So here are 3 ways I'd recommend to help begin the process. Why not just start right on your campus? Grab a pen and paper and go speak to as many students, researchers, and faculty you can find. Ask them where they spend most of their time, what they find most difficult, and what they wish they had. Over time, you'll notice some trends that you can use to define shared problems right on your campus. David Assem and his Developer Student Club in Ghana used this approach to develop a VR application for first-year students on their campus. You can also approach local businesses or NGOs. You can choose one business or organization and solve a problem specific to them, or you can choose to identify and solve a shared problem for a group of these organizations. Either way, it begins with a conversation. You can send emails or make calls, but it's often best to just go and knock on some doors. Grab that same pen and paper, hop on a bike, and ride over to these local organizations to ask them how you can help. You can also identify problems at the community level. These are problems that your community shares as a whole. One Developer Student Club in Jakarta was in a community that suffered from floods every year, causing damage to homes and lives. They realized that if people had more time to react to the crisis, a lot of damage could be avoided. The team learned all of this by speaking to members of their community and learning about their pains. Eventually, this led to them creating an app that allowed users of a community to alert each other of oncoming floods, saving infrastructure, money, and lives. Now, I'm not sure if you noticed, but these 3 methods have one thing in common. They all start with a conversation, with a student, an organization, or any other member of your community. If you speak to enough people, you'll feel the friction in their lives, and once you do, you can identify their problems. Once you've done this, you're on your way to building a great solution that'll touch lives right in your community.
Awesome. Those are definitely some great tips on identifying a great problem to solve, as well as some great tips into thinking about how you can find out more information about your local community and how to get more ideas from the people around you. Obviously, with COVID, it's a little bit harder to go out and have these conversations and start meeting these new people and getting these insights that you would from having these face-to-face interactions. But like you said, there's other ways in doing things like that. You can always send an email, have a survey, basically reach out to the people around you in your community, and find a little bit more about what they're going through and what problems they'd like to see solved as well.
As technologists, we build.
Lastly, we have some upcoming events that will help you guys get more familiar with the Solution Challenge, as well as some team building events that will help connect people in order to form these teams to make these projects. First, we have our first GBM of the spring semester. This will be on January 18th. Mind you, this is a tentative date, subject to the actual approval of the UF campus and our permit for hosting in-person events. We will be having events next semester on a hybrid basis. So this means that we will have recordings, live recordings, as well as an in-person attendance as well. So if you don't feel comfortable going to the in-person version of the event, you could always watch along online on Zoom. But that is something that we will be looking into having next semester based on the actual campus's approval as well. And these GBMs will include some semester plans, basically a look into what we'll be doing each month. And we will also discuss the Solution Challenge again, and we'll also be featuring a guest speaker as well. The next week, we will have 2 events that are focused on the Solution Challenge. We will have a team building mixer. So essentially that event will be a great networking and team building exercise where we will allow people either via Zoom or in person to mix and mingle and talk about what problems they'd like to solve, what technologies they like to use, their experience level, and basically get a feel for each other and really get to know the people that you're going to be working with to make this project itself. And then after that, we will also have a Solution Challenge project proposal and ideation event as well. This event will include presentations by those that we have selected or those that have approached us that want to be team leaders or have a idea for a problem that we can solve. And this will be a great event for finding out what projects that we can potentially make to solve this challenge, as well as for those who don't really have an idea of what they want to do, they can see some ideas of people who are going to be presenting, and then they will be able to contact each other to form a team and get everything situated for the team. Okay, so that actually concludes our presentation today. We will have a couple links that are in the chat that we're going to drop right now. We have the Solution Challenge info page, which is the actual Google page where they will be updating it on January 12th with the 2021 information. We have the list of goals from the SDS. Those are the goals that we want to focus on when solving this challenge. We also have our demo day playlist, which is really useful in seeing all the winners from last year. There were some really great projects, and I know we can create something of that caliber and even better. We also have our Slack link as well, so be sure to join that so that you can stay on top of our events and basically be in the know of everything DSC UF and what we're doing next with the Solution Challenge. And lastly, we have our Solution Challenge interest form, which you see on the screen right there. You can either scan that code or visit that link right there. We have dropped it into the chat as well. And this survey is really important for us because it really gives us an idea of who's interested in participating in the challenge. It also gives us a feel for who wants to be a leader or who wants to just be a team member. And this is also a great place for participants and members to really get a feel for if they want to be a leader, a member, if they have an idea, and things like that. So please make sure you fill that out. And we see a comment in the chat. Is it only for UF students? Yes. The DSC Solution Challenge is only open to participants who are part of an active DSC chapter. So they basically just have to have a DSC chapter on your campus. So if you unfortunately don't go to UF, you won't be able to participate in the challenge. But if you would still like to participate in all of our other events and workshops that we're hosting, you're more than welcome to. You just want to make sure you follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and join our Slack as well to be updated on all things DSC. And that actually concludes my presentation. I'm going to stick around for about another 15 to 20 minutes if anyone has any questions. Thank you all for coming out, and I hope you guys have a great day. Yes, DSC is actually new at UF. The organization has been around for about 3 years internationally. It actually started in Asia, and then more recently, about 2 years ago, it started in North America as well. All the other Florida schools actually had a DSC chapter except for UF. This summer, I reached out to them and I applied for that situation, and then we were able to come to an agreement. So now this is our first year as an organization on campus. So yeah, it's a new organization, but we're definitely trying to grow and really bring events that are useful to all people, not only CS majors, but anybody who's interested in tech, really. Yes, so if anyone has any other questions, feel free to just unmute yourself and shout it out, or you can put it in the chat, whichever one you feel more comfortable with.
Hey, Eric, as a new group, what are you expecting to have us turn out for team sizes?
That's a great question. As far as team sizes, it really depends on the actual individuals who want to participate themselves. You can always participate by yourself, but I do recommend trying to find a team. And part of those other events that we're going to have in January is a lot of team building events. So we're going to try to make sure that no one's really working on themselves unless they want to. The maximum is 4, but we're looking to have about 3 to 4 per team, depending on the amount of interest that we have and the amount of leaders that we have who want to lead individual teams.
So as a group, UF is allowed to have multiple 3 to 4 man teams.
Yes, there's no limit to the amount of projects that we can produce from our individual chapter. The only limit really is just the amount of people per team, but we do want to make sure that no one is really working on like an overlapping issue. We want to make sure each project is very unique in its own problem that it's solving and the manner in which they try to solve it. So we just want to try to create as many different solutions as possible to a variety of issues.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem.